You know the car, the one that hit 88 miles per hour and literally traveled through time. But long before it was a movie star, the DeLorean was this bold, ambitious, and, let's be honest, deeply flawed dream. So buckle up. We are going back in time to get the real story behind this automotive legend.
Yeah, this is the image we all have in our heads, right? The brushed stainless steel, those impossible gullwing doors pointing to the sky. It seriously looks like it just landed from another planet. And back in the early 80s, that was exactly the point. It was designed to be the future.
So how does a car with that kind of futuristic vision become one of the most famous failures in automotive history, only to get a second chance and become this massive cultural icon? Well, that's the story we're going to unpack right now.
Okay, so our story, it really kicks off with one man's big idea, John DeLorean. He was this hotshot executive at General Motors, a real rock star of the car world, and he wanted to break away and build his own car company, one that made ethical, safe, and totally futuristic sports cars.
And you know, this dream, it moved fast. I mean, really fast. He leaves GM in '73, and right away he hires the legendary Italian designer Giorgetto Giugiaro to pen the shape. By '76, they've got a prototype, and just 5 years after that, brand new cars are rolling out of a factory in Northern Ireland. The hype was absolutely huge. And this is what really got people excited. You see the internal name, DMC-12? Well, that 12 wasn't for 12 cylinders. Nope. It stood for its target price, $12,000. This wasn't supposed to be just another exotic sports car for the rich. It was pitched as a revolutionary car for everybody.
I mean, come on, the design was just breathtaking, right? The body was unpainted stainless steel. Nobody was doing that. And those gullwing doors, get this, they were developed with help from Aerospace. You know, the same company that built the Apollo lunar module that landed on the moon? This wasn't just a car. It was basically a spaceship for the highway.
But here's where the story takes a turn, because turning a wild concept like this into a car you can actually build and sell, that's where the dream started to fracture. The harsh reality of engineering, money, and deadlines began to bite, and it bit hard.
Okay, so this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The vision versus what actually got built. That cutting-edge, lightweight plastic chassis, gone. Swapped for a heavier steel backbone engineered by Lotus. The revolutionary mid-mounted Wankel engine? Nope. Replaced by a pretty standard V6 from Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo that they stuck in the back. And that amazing $12,000 price tag? It more than doubled to over 25 grand.
So you've got this car that looks like it can do warp speed, and it's powered by just 130 horsepower. To give you some perspective, its 0 to 60 time was a yawn-inducing 10.5 seconds. It looked incredibly fast standing still, but on the road, not so much.
And of course, the press was all over this. As the famous car magazine Road and Track put it back in '82, it was more of a comfortable cruiser, you know, a GT car, than a real sports car. The performance just didn't live up to that incredible design.
But you know what was even worse than the sluggish performance? The build quality. Oh man, the early cars were just riddled with issues. The alternator was so weak it couldn't power everything. It famously left Johnny Carson stranded. The doors didn't seal right, the steel panels didn't line up. Some cars needed hundreds of hours of work at the dealership just to make them sellable. So, you've got debts piling up, cars aren't selling, and the founders in major legal trouble. The DeLorean dream was about to crash and burn in a spectacular way, but its story was nowhere near over.
The end came so fast. By February of '82, the company was basically being run by the banks. That October, John DeLorean himself was arrested, and the company officially filed for bankruptcy. The very last car was pieced together on Christmas Eve, 1982. It really seemed like it was destined to be just a forgotten, embarrassing failure.
And then, just 3 years later, everything changed. Hollywood needed a car that looked like it came from the future. Suddenly, the DeLorean's biggest weaknesses, its bizarre futuristic look and that weird stainless steel body, became its greatest strengths. It was reborn, not as a car, but as a movie star, an icon.
So flash forward to today. Thanks to its second life on the big screen, the DeLorean has this massive, dedicated following. But owning one is, well, it's not for the faint of heart. So what's it really like to have one of these parked in your garage today?
I mean, admit it, you've thought about it, right? It's a tempting idea for sure. But before you start searching for a flux capacitor on eBay, there are a few things you absolutely need to know.
Okay, first things first, the frame. So underneath all that shiny rust-proof stainless steel is a steel backbone chassis. And unlike the body, that frame can and will rust. It's only coated in epoxy. So you have to get under there and check it really carefully for corrosion or any signs of accident damage, especially up at the front.
All right, so if you're serious about buying one, you got to go in with a checklist. Check the steel body panels for any little pits or corrosion, the whole cooling system, the radiator, the pipes. They're known to have issues. And here's a classic DeLorean pro tip. Check fuse 7 behind the passenger seat. If it's melted, that's a dead giveaway of bigger electrical problems. And just be aware that old-school fuel injection system can be a real headache and expensive to fix.
And yeah, if you're thinking you can pick one of these up for cheap, think again. Those days are long, long gone. Just a project car that needs a ton of work will set you back over 20,000 pounds. A really nice one, you're looking at 40,000 or more. And a perfect show-winning example can easily top 50 grand. It's a serious classic car now.
So where does that leave us? What does the future hold for a car that was always supposed to be the future? Well, it's funny. The story might just be coming full circle.
So let's just quickly remember the original specs, right? 130 horsepower V6, a 0 to 60 time that you could measure with a calendar, all wrapped up in that timeless stainless steel body.
Okay, now check this out. This is a concept for what a modern, all-electric DeLorean could be. We're talking almost double the horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. That's less than half the time of the original, plus a totally usable 200-mile range. This is the kind of performance that the car's looks have been promising all along.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. The DeLorean was this amazing car of the future that famously couldn't deliver on its promises. But maybe it was just born too early. Could today's technology finally let this icon become the groundbreaking, high-performance vehicle it was always meant to be?